Right, okay, should we say hi?
Yeah.
Okay, so... Hey everyone, it's Lewis.
And Fox.
Today we're going to make a video all about trans guy surgery or trans masculine surgeries.
That's right, so we put some questions out there into the ether. So
we didn't put the questions out there.
Oh yeah.
The questions came to us.
Oh yeah. The answers came to us.
No, the questions came to us.
Oh yeah.
So we asked you all to ask us questions about surgeries, basically anything as intimate as you can be.
Yeah, anything to do with trans surgeries, so everything from top surgery to bottom surgery and everything in between.
Yeah.
So we have some answers, thankfully.
Some questions.
Yes. I'm non-binary and I'm worried about that affecting my access to top surgery. I don't want to take testosterone.
Okay.
So this person, I assume, is part of the NHS, so we'll kind of broach a lot of these answers based on people being in the UK.
Yeah.
So if you're non-binary, I mean, I define as non-binary as well, but actually I changed the way that I, there's a cat right here. So yeah, I define as non-binary and I actually changed my wording in order to access medical treatment. So I started my medical journey about 8 or 9 years ago. So back then, being non-binary wasn't really talked about at all. So the cat
Just keep
kitty. So yeah, so I kind of said that the usual tropes like I should have been born a boy and I feel like a man and so on. But I think now these days people don't need to worry so much about that. Non-binary is being talked about at the GIC, which is the Gender Identity Clinic. People are aware of non-binary people and the fact that they still want to access surgeries. So that shouldn't slow you down. And also it's such a long wait for surgery in the UK anyway. So you're probably looking at a couple of years on the NHS in order to access that. Obviously if you have money, it takes a lot less time and you would need a letter from your doctor in order to, you know, to be able to go forward with your surgery.
I am binary, but I was still rejected on the, do you remember?
That's
I
right.
was actually rejected on the NHS for chest surgery.
And that's because probably in your area they were more used to trans women.
Yeah, because they basically said that chest surgery was cosmetic, and I think that's because trans women, if you're on estrogen, you can grow a chest, right? So like,
yeah.
Well, you know, not everybody does, but you can. So to have like a boob job would, in my sort of local NHS's eyes, was a bit more cosmetic. So they classed top surgery as this cosmetic thing.
Yeah.
And they said to me that I'm meant to have the lower surgery first, and then under special circumstances they then consider the top surgery.
It's ridiculous.
This is 10 years ago though. I can't imagine anybody having a problem getting top surgery now. Back then, even people that were binary still had trouble getting it, apparently.
So you end up getting your top surgery at the same time as me.
Yeah.
Should we show people our top surgery first?
Yeah, we should do that. Yeah, yeah,
Alright,
yeah.
strip-a-thon.
Okay. So, actually, it's quite good this, because me and you got our top surgeries at pretty much the same
That's what I was going to say, it's the same time or same day.
It was like
wasn't
literally like a day apart
Yeah.
or something, wasn't it?
And it was different surgeons. So I went to go see Dr. Garamoni in Florida.
Yeah.
And you stayed in
to
Brighton.
your hometown in Brighton.
That's right.
To have Mr. Yelland, Dr. Yelland.
Who I believe was one of the best surgeons at the time in the UK, and I think there's a few others now that we can list. We'll list a few surgeons that are on the NHS that are doing great work right now.
Dr. Garamoni is a top surgeon in America, so we both had a luxury experience.
That's
basically.
Right. The top surgery surgeon around. My chest size before my surgery was decreasing. We've seen some incredible people who have been able to work out and really get the chest to be more like pecs, really.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Well, I feel like mine was, so I don't work out anymore and I've got a bit of like man boob now. Like my scars actually go down. I don't care about that.
I can't see any scars. I mean, obviously you've got tattoos there.
And tattoos. Yours a few years ago were, like, they're changing all the time, yours are so much less obvious now than even like a year ago, I think. You wouldn't even notice because it just goes under your pec line anyway.
That's it. I think the more developed I get with my pecs, the more it'll kind of cover that.
And your tattoo as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Like if I looked at you for the first time, your scars would be not something I even saw.
You might notice the tattoos first.
Yeah.
But I'm not ashamed of my scars as well. I'm actually very proud of them. The type of surgery that we had, the top surgery, was pretty much one that most people get, which is the double incision. So it means that they cut all the way along here. In fact, in the centre here, that's not been cut away, and same for you as well. So they kind of keep the centre bit, but they cut everything off, and they kind of remove your nipples, kind of make them less.
Yeah.
Like cut them down a bit.
Cut round like a pound coin or something, don't they?
I don't know. A pound coin.
I don't know. I think I've made that up.
And then they stick them back on. So, sensation-wise, like, what have you...
My sensation's really good.
Yeah.
It's not quite as strong as before. It's nothing that bothers me. Like, they're still sensitive. Like, that when I touch them, I can feel it. You know, they still feel like when it's cold they get erect and stuff.
They work.
No, yeah.
Should, yeah.
Do yours? What do you about sensation?
Yeah, I mean, my sensation's really good. We had our surgery 8 or 9 years ago.
That's mad.
It's crazy.
It's actually mad to think it was that long ago.
But honestly, not a day has gone by where I haven't been grateful just to like put a t-shirt on and do it, you know, just get on with life. So,
but I think I take it for granted.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause I just even forget that it's strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
I actually asked, like, could they not make my chest too flat? Which is, I know some people want it can be totally flat.
Right.
But because I am I've always been a bit chunkier and stuff, I just felt like it would look more natural with a bit of still something there.
Right. Because obviously, you know, if you're not like a stick, then you're gonna have a little like something, not man boobs, but you know, definitely a little something. So
exactly.
So the other type of surgery that people can have that we didn't get is the keyhole type of surgery. So in fact, this is the next question: what types of top surgeries are available? I've got quite a small chest and I don't want a lot of scars. So I think for someone with a smaller chest, I would definitely recommend it's almost like a bit of lipo that they do. They kind of cut around the nipple, suck out some of the fat, and then sew things back on.
Yeah.
So I think they can reduce the nipple size slightly that way as well. But it's called peri-areola. And is it done on the NHS?
Yeah, it definitely is. But you have to be
quite small, don't you?
Yeah, quite a small chest size. And the benefit is that you don't end up with the scars.
Yeah.
I think the only disadvantage is that they can't sculpt it as much, which is why you kind of need to be on the smaller side to begin with.
What's the best way to minimise scars? Yeah, did you use anything specific?
Well, I didn't. You're probably better to talk about this. I mean, but mine have turned out like really good.
Yeah, people use bio oil, don't they?
Yeah, that's what I've bought since having lower surgery.
Yeah, bio oil, which is so you can get it at most pharmacies and places like that. And also another good thing is this cocoa butter formula or anything like a moisturizer or anything like that, just to kind of get rid of scars. In fact, you know what? I'm going to put some on right now. Why not? It's never too late.
I'll put this one on, shall I? Trying to be sexy.
Trying to be sexy. This should be our special X-rated, like after hours. Okay, I'm all greasy.
I know, I'm all greasy.
Somebody asks, what currently exists for facial masculinization, and can I get this on the NHS?
Okay.
So for trans women, I know that they can get facial feminization, but only if you're in Scotland. So
Right.
it's not available in England on the NHS.
How weird, why would it be available in Scotland but not England?
I don't know. Scotland, better.
Yeah.
I've never heard of anyone getting facial masculinization on the NHS,
No.
but I have heard of people getting cosmetic facial masculinization. There's a place on Harley Street, and I'll put a link here right now, that does it. 2 models that I know have had it done, Kenny and
No way.
Roshans.
Really?
And what the guy does there is injects like a filler into the jaw right here to give you a more pronounced jaw. I've never ever had any fillers or Botox or anything like that, and I know that some people have started doing that like way early, like, you know, in the early 20s. And I think this masculinization costs about £800, £700, £800 to do, and then obviously you have to get a top up every 9 months to a year, so you have to be able to,
Really?
yeah.
So the stuff they put filler in your jaw to,
Filler,
and
yeah.
you have to get it topped. I don't know if I'd like that, because feeling of having to top it up would make me feel like it's not really
Like
my
it's
face.
not you, yeah.
But I understand why people do it. That's just a personal.
I think I would definitely go get it done, because
Would
I
you?
feel like if I was born a cis guy, I would definitely have a more pronounced jawline, and I feel like my dysphoria is somehow connected to a more feminine looking face.
Yeah, but
So-
you don't know that. You might have had a less pronounced
Yeah,
jawline.
yeah, very true. The other option as well is surgery where they actually put in implants as well, and that's more of a
Really?
permanent situation, but obviously it's invasive, it costs more, they've got to put you under to do it.
You hear more of facial feminization than you do of masculinization. I said that right. Masculinization. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? That that's not really as common.
Yeah. But do you think that's because when people start taking testosterone,
It changes your face.
it has such a huge effect on you? Is man sculpting worth it? Does the fat and the hips come back? So for people who don't know what man sculpting is, and I don't know who coined this term initially, but I know that Dr. Garamoni, who did my surgery, also offers a man sculpting, which means while you're having your surgery, they can also go in and, like with a lipo, and kind of get rid of the extra hippage that you have there. And if I could have afforded it at the time, I actually definitely would have had it done.
Would you? But you don't need it, do you? Well, not.
Well, you know, I mean,
No.
Dysphoria is a funny thing.
I know.
I feel like, you know, although I've worked really hard to get myself to this point, or when I look at this, you know, look at myself.
Well, from
I
a
can just
downwards
see
angle,
hips.
it's the worst angle for hips. Yeah, but I know. I used to be really, really paranoid about my hips too, but I just kind of, because I like to be a bit of a chunkier guy, you
Yeah.
naturally get that anyway.
Yeah.
And I've kind of come to terms with that there's so many guys that aren't trans that have like carry
Yeah.
fat on their hips. In fact, like we carry weight a lot more in a masculine way than a lot of like guys that I
Right.
know. Do you know what I mean?
Like beer
And-
bellies or whatever. Yeah.
I
the fat's different.
it does change it on testosterone, doesn't it, where you carry the fat?
It does. In
Wow.
fact, because I get the libido shot, which is once every 3 months, I find that towards the end of that cycle, like the end of the 3 months, I can notice that my hips are definitely more hippie, you know?
Can
Like,
you?
They stick out more for sure. And then
Really?
after a few weeks of having my next shot, everything goes back to more of a slender frame.
It's probably like a water retention
Must be.
thing.
Yeah, it must be, yeah.
'Cause I know I feel like my hips look big on this angle, but I definitely carry it more on my belly
Yeah.
than on my hips. Yeah, definitely, and I prefer that. Like, it's weird, isn't it? Like, but I just prefer. I don't mind having fat. I just like I mind where it goes.
Yeah,
Do you know what
sure.
I mean?
and I don't think you can get that on the NHS at all for free. But
No, I can't imagine.
And I think cost-wise, you're probably looking at maybe £2,000 or £3,000 to have that done. And I think that the recovery for it is a few weeks as well, because you tend to swell up a little bit. So it's quite taxing on the body, but
But I think that a combination of taking testosterone and working out,
Yeah.
or even if you don't want to take testosterone, just working out,
Yeah.
like, to be honest, can be the biggest change.
yeah, you were working out before you started testosterone in order
Yeah.
to feel better about your body, weren't you?
Exactly. But if you stop taking testosterone, the fat can redistribute back. But that's why working out will always be your best way of guaranteeing, won't it?
Yeah,
It's-
definitely, because you've got more control that way.
Yeah.
For sure. What lower surgery options are currently available?
Okay.
Okay.
For trans men.
For trans masculine
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
There's two sort of main types and then variations of those types. Isn't
That's
there?
right. So the first type is the one that you had first, right?
Yeah, I've had them both. I'm pretty I've tried them both. Metoidioplasty, and a simple way of describing that would be that it works with what you have naturally. So you grow a penis on testosterone from your natural anatomy, but it is obviously quite small,
Yeah.
you know, compared to most men. And the surgery just frees that up. Kind of, it's up to you if you want to take away the sort of female parts of you, but I chose to have that done, so it got rid of anything that, well, I shouldn't really say female parts, but you know, how can I have a best as this?
You got rid of your existing plumbing, I suppose.
Yeah, existing plumbing, there we go. So I got rid of my existing plumbing, and it made everything just look more masculine down there, and rewired it so that I can pee through my penis and everything. So it's, yeah.
What was the worst part about that surgery, do you think?
Well, it went wrong to begin with. I had a surgeon called Mr. Graffer, who doesn't actually work there anymore,
Yes.
at Harley Street. I felt like it looked more like female than even before the surgery. He kind of like, really, my penis was totally like buried. It wasn't like free, like I couldn't lift it up, and like my balls were like either side of my dick, so it was like just a really weird, it looked like a puffy vagina. don't know how else to describe it, but it did, and so I had to get it fixed by Mr. Christopher.
Right.
But that was really horrible. It was like, you know, I felt more dysphoric after going through all of that horrible surgery.
So you had that one surgery that you felt kind of moved things backwards a little bit. Then
Yeah.
how long was the wait until the next surgery that you had?
Oh, probably about a year.
A year.
Probably about that, or 10 months or something.
And was it just 2 surgeries that you had for the metoidioplasty?
No, I had the first surgery. They took a graft from the inside of my cheek. So basically, they split your penis open on the underneath and put the graft of your cheek sort of in it, right? So that kind of is prepping it for that will be your urethra, your pee tube.
Yeah.
And then the second stage, they close it up, so it's like a proper tube at that point, and they did the hysterectomy and all that with it. Then the third stage for me was a revision of correcting what Mr. Graffer messed up.
Right.
And I was going to get my fourth stage, which would be ball implants, but in that time I then changed my mind to go with phalloplasty, which is amazing that they do offer that on the NHS, isn't it? That
Yeah.
you can go for metoidioplasty first, and then if that still isn't enough, you can then opt for phalloplasty.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So just quickly, the options for phalloplasty.
Yeah.
There's the radial forearm.
Yeah, which
so
is what I
this
have.
is where they take skin from the arm.
You use that to
that's
sculpt your penis.
Probably the most common,
Yeah.
popular one.
Yeah.
Some people don't want to have a visible scar like that for obvious reasons, especially if they're living a stealth life.
Yeah.
So they, and maybe some people already have tattoos there and they just don't want to disrupt what they have.
Yeah.
So the other option is to take
From your stomach.
it's the pubic, that's called pubic fallow.
Pubic fallow or thigh fallow.
Or thigh fallow. And
Yeah.
in order to have the thigh fallow, I believe you need to have quite a low fat.
Yeah, you can't have too much fat on your thighs.
Yeah.
But the arm one is the most popular because you've got the most chance of getting good sensation, because you've got the most nerves in your arm that they can hook up. For me, I think it's the scar. I mean, I'm only 12 weeks post-op, so it's quite obvious right now.
But it looks pretty amazing. You've actually
Yeah,
healed so well. You're really
It's fine,
not lucky,
isn't
I don't
it?
want to say, but yeah.
I'll just get it all tattooed over eventually, and for me the scar is a small price to pay for the amount of sensation that I will eventually end up having.
Yeah, totally. So you've had your first stage phalloplasty.
Yes.
And then what's going to happen after that?
So my first stage phalloplasty, which for me was easier because I'd already had metoidioplasty, so they often don't hook you up to be able to pee through your penis on stage 1, but because I'd already had metoidioplasty, they did that. So a lot of my, I'm all done really, other than they just need... So a little quick one to sculpt the head, and then the final stage will be the erection device, so that...
And you're going to have, there's 2 options for the erection device as well. So
Yeah.
one is the pump, where you can pump up...
Squeeze your balls.
Squeeze one of the balls or 2 of the...
One of the
just
balls, one ball, squeeze it a few times and you
goes up.
get hard, yeah.
And then the other one is a rod.
Yeah.
And then the rod's there and you just flip the rod up.
Yeah, it's just kind of like always a bit stiff, so you just flip it up into...
Yeah.
But, you know, that's only the final stage. I've got time to decide. And I'm 12 weeks post-op now, and I'm already starting to get some sensation, like even when I lightly just literally go like that,
you can
like a
feel
little
it.
flick down one side, it feels all like a zap of nerves, but it will eventually grow.
And that's one thing to remember, actually, that nerves take a really long time to grow back. So
Yeah.
you can't judge anything from the first few months of surgery.
No, yeah,
it just,
not at all.
And it was the same with my top surgery as well. It took like maybe 3 years for complete sensation to kind of return. And I think the mind has this body mapping as well, and I feel like it has to readjust.
It has to get used to.
Yeah.
Well, it's a whole new thing attached as well.
Yeah, I almost felt like I had ghost tits for a while.
Did you?
Like,
Yeah.
they were there, but then they weren't there, thank God, you know?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I can't imagine it now. I can't imagine going like that and feeling like an extra blob.
Something.
Yeah.
Blob.
Yeah. 2 blobs. What surgery are you going to opt for?
Yes.
And why as well? I want to actually
Yeah.
know your reasons for not getting
Sure.
one.
I originally chose the metoidioplasty, which is what you had initially. And my reason for that was because I knew that I wanted to make what I had downstairs different, but I just wasn't invested in the scarring and all the stages that would go through it. I thought actually I need to check whether my dysphoria will be dissipated by having the metoidioplasty, which is a more masculine version of you know what I have existing. Yeah, so that's the hope, that I'm still going to feel good about it. I've actually gone back and forth so many times. I'm still waiting for my surgery, and I've gone back to my original choice, which is the metoidioplasty. But between that, I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll have the pubic fallow, because then that'll be less scarring, it'll be easier to do. But then the people that I've talked to about the pubic fallow, there's always complications. So, you know, it's really good to do your research and be prepared for something to go wrong, potentially. Because at the time that I was offered my surgery initially, I just had a breakup. I just wasn't really able to go through with another big surgery. But now I'm in a better place and I'm feeling, you know, better about things. So hopefully the metoidoplasty, I'll be able to get that this year. And I'm looking forward to, feeling better about my body. But dysphoria is a funny thing. It has a way of kind of moving around and stuff. Like, I was so focused on my chest and then I had my top surgery, and now that's kind of changed to different places. But I'm generally happy, you know.
Yeah. But that's the good thing about the metoidoplasty, isn't it? You can always, if you do end up feeling not quite, you know, happy or complete or whatever at some point, you can just get the other, get phallo, but you can't go the other way around. You can't have phallo then metoidoplasty, so you're doing it the right way.
That's good, But I feel incredibly grateful and incredibly humbled to be able to have this surgery. Like, we're really
on the NHS.
I feel we're so privileged, and I know the waiting time is really, really long, and you know that there are many negative aspects to it, but I'm in a position where I feel really happy to be alive, and people can't tell whether you have top surgery or have had lower surgery or whatever when you're just out on the street. When I go to like changing rooms, for example, you just get on with it, and it's no big deal.
Dysphoria becomes less about the outside world's perception and more about how just you literally feel like when you're on your own, naked, looking at yourself in the mirror, or just feeling parts of your body rather than how people see you.
And that's what you were saying to me as well, that you were getting this surgery for you more than anything. It's not that your partner wants you to get it.
No, even before I had any surgery, like, I've never had a problem from a partner, which obviously you shouldn't have.
Sure.
But a lot of people probably do have that problem, right? A lot of people probably are a bit insecure of how their partner sees them.
Sometimes people think, I've got to wait for all my surgeries in order to find the right partner and so on, but that's just not the case really at all. And you just get creative with what you have, and I think that a lot of this with all these surgeries, that you're never going to have like the perfect fix. I think it's always a compromise of some kind. And it's just about finding, like, making peace with yourself and your body. And I really tried, before I started my medical transition and having surgery, I really, really wanted to be happy about myself and who I was, and I did a lot of soul exploring and whatever, but it really came down to the fact that surgery and hormones was the thing to really make me feel better about myself, and to feel like I was actually present. Like, I feel present now. It's really hard to explain, but...
Well, it's weird. I can't even imagine what it was like to not, like, have hormones and surgery and stuff, and it's weird, isn't it? Like you say, like, because you want to make the point of of course not everybody needs these surgeries. Of course we were still just as male or as valid, before anything. But it's just so individual, isn't it? To how, and for me, I just couldn't. I just literally just wanted to get to that point where it was like, oh, this is how I should have been, really. You know, how my body should have developed. It should have done this.
Yeah.
You do get to appreciate it. I feel like I'll get to. I'm 30 now, and I've just had my lower surgery. Once I'm all healed from it, I've got the next, hopefully, 50 years.
Let's hope so.
Hopefully, 50 years to enjoy, like, what I have now, and like a whole new appreciation for that.
Totally. So, and I think surgeons are getting better and better as well. So we're really lucky. I think, as one of the surgeons said to me, it's easier to make a hole than a pole, which is like so like...
well, we're having to have something added, aren't we, rather than just... I mean, because with the chest surgery, it's so easy because you're just taking something away. With the lower surgery, you're trying to add something.
Which is always going to be a bit difficult.
It's always harder,
But I mean, I still keep thinking that, in the near future, they'll be able to print skin, so they won't have to take it from your arm. And they'll be able to maybe create a bio-penis for you by taking some of your DNA, or who knows what it'll be like in the future. So,
I know.
Yeah.
You're right.
For trans people to feel more comfortable in their own skin, and that's what it's all about, really.
Yeah.
So,
It's amazing what they can do now already, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I hope that answers some of your queries that you have about trans-masculine surgeries, and hope you've enjoyed our
topless
time. Topless talks.
Topless talks. That's what we should call a video.
With trans people.
Topless trans talks.
We're
going to do more My Generation videos, aren't we? Yes. And you should tell them about TikTok as well.
Oh, yes. So we are the new kids on TikTok. So if you want to check out some trans-positive sketches that are just really silly, then go to My Generation on TikTok. We'll see you there.
Okay, well, we'll see you all soon.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.